With the modern advancement of digital cameras today being more compact and easier to use, it's somewhat frustrating having to use heavy telephoto lenses, especially if you're planning on embarking on long trips. Well, what if it doesn't have to be this way? Enter the Tokina SZX 400mm f8 reflex lens. My name is Fred, and Tokina very graciously lent us this unit to review for Clifton cameras. Now, a moment ago you may have noticed that I used the word reflex in the name of the lens, not dissimilar to reflex in terms of the mirrored system it utilizes, but let's dive deeper. Back in the 1820s, two French physicists were hard at work designing a mirrored system to transmit light from one point to another. Augustin Jean Fresnel attempted to improve light emitting from lighthouses, while Leon Foucault created a microscope with fewer aberrations than previous iterations. However, it wasn't until 1876 when another Frenchman named Alphonse Mangin designed a concave mirror to improve the original design, thus making it capable of transmitting light further without any aberrations whatsoever. The design of the system was improved little by little over the years, however the basic principle stayed the same. 3 mirrors are located inside the barrel, 2 on either side of the opening and 1 in the center. The light enters through the lens opening and reflects onto the mirrors located in the rear of the lens. The mirrors project the image back to the center of the lens before transmitting the light into the viewfinder. This technique became the norm for early versions of the telescope and was later adopted for use in photography. This invention was known as the Schmidt-Cassegrain design. This simple technique of bouncing light around inside the lens resulted in a crisp image with no chromatic aberration present. It also meant that the lens could be lighter and more compact, as fewer glass elements are used to transmit light. But what's the catch, you may ask? Well, as the light hits the front of the element, it became partially blocked by the central mirror upon entering the lens. This design also introduced unique out-of-focus highlights in the shape of a donut. The simplistic reflex design meant that the lenses were smaller and lighter, but caused the aperture to be fixed. And it didn't allow for advanced mechanisms such as autofocus or image stabilization to being implemented either. It also meant that higher ISO and lower shutter speeds needed to be used to compensate for the loss of light. Well, at this point you may be thinking, it sounds like a rather odd lens to be using in modern times, but before you make your mind up, let's go back to the beginning. Now, as I mentioned during the start of this video, major technological breakthroughs in recent years saw sensors expand their dynamic range and become less noisy as we push the ISO further, allowing us to see better in the dark than the human eye can. So what would happen if I paired the Tokina 400mm SZX f8 with a highly light sensitive mirrorless camera? Well, something extraordinary. This lens is constructed out of extremely high quality plastics and metal, developed by some clever engineers in Japan. They've designed it so well that it doesn't feel front heavy as many telephoto lenses do, and the construction doesn't feel cheap at all. With a weight of a mere 355 grams and a size measuring 74 by 77 millimeters, featuring only 6 elements in 5 groups, this lens will be one of the most compact telephoto lenses you can own. And even though this lens offers no electronics and no contact points to transfer information between the mount and the camera, the in-body stabilization of the camera worked perfectly, allowing me to capture images of 1/30th of a second handheld. The lens itself features a 67mm filter thread at the front, allowing you to use anything from a standard UV filter to polarizers and ND filters. The lens also comes with a T-mount, allowing you to choose between Sony, Canon EF, Nikon F, and Micro Four Thirds mounts. The focus throw of this lens is huge, allowing you to fine-tune your focus to mere millimeters, and the minimum focus is reduced to 1.15 meters due to the catadioptric design of this lens. The out of focus highlights, or bokeh as it's more commonly known, is often donut shaped due to the center mirror blocking the light, and some will love it while others simply won't. I found this look rather intriguing, potentially finding its position solidified in a finer art of photography. And speaking of the design, it's important to note that the catadioptric lenses produce a fairly low contrast image and relatively lower sharpness when compared to modern digital lenses. That being said, I was well pleased with the optic quality of the lens, and the low contrast is easily fixed in applications such as Photoshop or Lightroom. While it's certainly a risky step to produce something with such an air of simplicity in today's digital world, however, this lens proved itself to be useful as well as practical, especially if you're an avid hiker and in need of a compact ranged lens with all the weight and complications that would come with most of today's telephoto lenses. And although it features no electronics, autofocus, or stabilization, it still performed optically well, and I could see myself using this as either a fine art or everyday nature lens. Thanks for watching our review on the Tokina 400mm SZX f8 reflex lens. We'd love to know what you think of it, so please leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in finding out more of this lens, please follow the link in the description below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel for future updates and reviews. I'm Fred with Clifton Cameras, and I'll see you in the next video.